Hello, and welcome to another update video on silver. So on the silver chart, we've obviously seen here this complex WXY correction. I shared with you in the previous update here this detailed micro count, and I explained to you that the C wave within our wave Y in this correction might even get one more low. In fact, that one more low happened overnight. That was not a must, but actually is now a perfect wave count, because what we had before, and I shared that with you in the last video, what we are tracking here is a WXY structure. And in the Y wave, we have 3 waves in A, we have B, and then 5 waves in C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what we had until yesterday was basically that 5th wave down was missing. That was not a major problem because, again, it's a quick reminder, we're dealing here with a situation in which there is still, and there was, especially on Friday, a lot of volatility, nearly unprecedented, or unprecedented. I mean, 2011, we had a similar sell-off, but it took, I think, 3 to 4 days. Everything happened over one session here on Friday, and that actually is, unprecedented. And therefore, during periods like this of very high volatility, the microstructures are sometimes not so easy to recognize, okay? And not only that, sometimes they are just hidden in the liquidation candle, right? So if you look at this is the 15-minute chart, so it's a really, really small time frame. And to be honest, it often doesn't make sense to take a look at a chart from an Elliott Wave point of view on the 15-minute chart. I still do it for educational purposes, but it is very, very small. So it has limited predictive value. But I wanted to point out that from an Elliott Wave point of view, this here could have been the low. This could have been the low, but the 5th wave down was missing. But when you have a liquidation candle, because things happen so quickly, that last 4 or 5 patterns, sometimes it's hidden in there, which means that we really sometimes just have to wait and see for the market to confirm something. But overall, it's about the levels, and the support levels here that we talked about are holding between round about $68.30 and $76.10. By the way, in case you are wondering about the bigger picture, on the weekend I shared an update again for silver, the long-term update. Feel free to check it out because it gives you a really good idea of the bigger picture. What we're tracking at the moment is a larger correction, and this move down here might have been only the A wave. The move to the upside might have been the B wave, or might be the B wave actually. The idea was for this week for the market to start a B wave bounce. Very, very important. That's not an absolute call, but it's an idea, obviously, right? That's the thesis, that the price could start that B wave bounce. Now, obviously, people ask, are we watching for another low? Do we get another low? Has this B wave started? And I have to make sure something is understood. I posted that in our members area earlier today. And I'm just going to read it out because it really is so important to understand for most people. And I know people coming, I see it in the average watch time. People come here, just come for the count, and then they leave. But you're missing all the stuff that's actually important. The report, the mindset stuff, the how to understand the wave count and the levels and probabilities and so on. But it's important that the bounce that we expect is likely a B wave, okay? I explained that over the weekend. So, by the way, you might hear the dog snoring. I won't wake him up now. I hope that's okay. And I try to filter it out later in the editing process. But what I did say is I usually don't have strong expectations for B waves because they are counter-trend moves. You can't predict every single wave in advance, and that's not what Elliott Wave is designed to do. Elliott Wave is not a forecasting tool in the sense of price will do X next no matter what. It is a framework to understand market structure and manage expectations and risk as price unfolds. What Elliott Wave does well is identify where we are in a larger sequence, and again, watch the weekend video, where we are in the larger sequence and what kinds of moves are statistically more or less likely from that position. And again, the idea is we are probably in a larger wave 4 correction. The 3rd wave topped in January. We have an A wave down, and therefore the B wave up is expected now. And it is a bounce that could take us into the resistance area here between $87.63 and $114.63. So I did say it is a framework to understand market structure and manage expectations and risk as price unfolds. What Elliott Wave does, well, is identify where we are in the larger sequence and what kinds of moves are statistically more or less likely from that position when markets move in a normal, proportional way. Microstructures can be tracked fairly well. When you get a liquidation move like we saw in silver on Friday, a lot of those microstructures get compressed or hidden inside one larger candle. That doesn't mean the structure is invalid, it just means fine-grained counting loses reliability. With silver specifically, this kind of behavior is not unusual after extended rallies. Silver is prone to blow-off moves and sharp corrections. In 2011, a similar post-blow-off adjustment took several days. This time, a comparable move happened in a single session, which tells you how aggressive positioning had become. Right now, and that's important, the focus shouldn't be on calling the exact next low tick. The more important question is how price behaves after reaching support. If the rebound is choppy and corrective, we don't have enough data for that yet, that fits a B wave within a larger correction. We're tracking the B wave right now, because after a move to the downside, that has to be the default expectation. If price can rebuild structure and move impulsively, which means a 5-wave move up, that would shift the picture. Okay, so Elliott Wave isn't about saying the low is in or another low is guaranteed. It's about saying the market has reached a zone where reactions are likely, risk reward is changing, and the next move will likely give information. And the structure of that move will now be very important. So if it is a 3-wave move, we treat it as a B wave. If it is a 5-wave move, it might shift, again, it shifts the picture back to something more directly bullish. And how that would look like, I'm showing that in blue. For now, the nearest micro support, the nearest micro support is between $73.99 and $79. This is micro support I would watch for the coming hours, for the coming session. The question is this micro support really gonna hold? It's very early to say. We haven't even broken above this previous swing high at $88. I think the focus today has to be on this micro support area as well on the last swing high, which formed here on Monday, overnight basically, because when the bulls can drive the price above this last swing high, then we have a confirmation that the C wave up has likely started. So yeah, that's the update on silver. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you're interested in additional updates, feel free to check out our membership. Also, if you're wondering where you might be able to trade silver, feel free to check out XTB. XTB is our partner broker, and on the XTB exchange broker dashboard, you can actually find silver CFDs, for example, that you can trade. You can also trade gold CFDs. You can trade palladium CFDs. You can trade a lot of silver stocks, gold stocks. For example, what you can trade is EXK, for example. I think a lot of, and also, by the way, there are ETFs, metals ETFs. What will be important is over the coming weeks to watch how this correction unfolds. And I think especially in miners, metal mining companies, there will be some opportunities. So there's something there to watch. Also, you get a news dashboard here. You get a financial calendar, market analysis tools. Plus, you are able to trade commission-free up to 100,000 euro monthly turnover. And depending where you live, there are even promotions at the moment about free stocks. For example, here, this is the UK one. There's a free share you can get. So feel free to check it out. The link is in the comment section. If you are looking for a new broker anyway, then you would support our project here directly if you use the link. Thanks so much. I wish you a great day. Bye-bye.